I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, and this is Focus on Israel. Beresheet is the first word in the book of Genesis. It means in the beginning. It's also the name of the Israeli spacecraft that recently launched from Cape Canaveral in Florida. After 8 years of hard work, the dream came true as Israel sent a spacecraft to the moon. Hello, I'm Laurie Cardoza-Moore, founder of Proclaiming Justice to the Nations, a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating and sharing the message of the Christian biblical responsibility to the people and land of Israel in the face of a growing global anti-Semitism. PJTN was birthed to stop the silence, to wake up Christians and people of conscience to the realities of a world bent on destroying Israel and the Jewish people. Today on Focus on Israel, you'll learn more about the fantastic Israel space program, SpaceIL. In 2015, we made a trip to Israel to shoot interviews and footage for our award-winning documentary, Boycott This, starring comedian Brad Stein. We happened to find out about the new Israeli space travel venture called SpaceIL. In the company's plans was a trip to the moon, a feat accomplished by only 3 countries, the US, Russia, and China. Could tiny Israel actually accomplish such an ambitious mission? We were able to meet with one of the founders while in Tel Aviv. Brad's talk with computer expert Kfir Damari was certainly enlightening and surprising.
See, Jews in space!
It will be the smallest spacecraft that took the smallest time frame to build with the lowest budget, and will show that with limited resources you can land on the moon. And hopefully, if you look at humanity, we can show that in the same amount of resources you can land not just one spacecraft, but you can land 10 or 20. And this will be something that could advance humanity in a huge way. We're basing it on a lot of Israeli technology.
Yes.
So that's part of the equation. Really the educational impact, hopefully inspiring kids to be engineers, and maybe we'll even spark the imagination of kids around the world to do that.
Kids need all kinds of role models. I think that today it's needed more than ever. It's about building ourselves a better future. Projects like the Google Lunar X Prize competition and SpaceIL are needed to push humanity forward. אהלן חברים, אני יריב. אהלן. אבל יש לי קצת שאלה אחרת. מה אתם יודעים על הירח? כן.
שהירח גם, הוא בעצם קובע גם על הקהות ומה ש...
נכון מאוד, יפה מאוד. זה את האמת פרי טריוויה מאוד מאוד יפה. מגיע לך מדבקה. One thing that my grandfather taught me was choose something that you'll be good at and then just follow your dreams. And my grandfather was in Auschwitz back in 1944. During that time, the Germans chose a group of metal workers and engineers from Auschwitz to be taken to assemble the V1 and V2 rockets. That way he managed to survive. He had a wife and a 5-year-old daughter that died during the Holocaust. When I was young, he always bought me those do-it-yourself kits to assemble, and we would sit down and assemble them together. He had a very strong impact on my decision to become an engineer. Sadly, I too have grown in a region that has lots of divisions. There isn't one person in the entire region who doesn't think about those kind of things daily. But I felt that I'm in this world to make peaceful and positive things that will help to advance humanity.
Well, good. Yeah, right.
And now we're trying to send a spacecraft to the moon. Building something that will go to the moon, that's like the ultimate experience for a maker. Today we've got more than 40 full-time engineers working on the Google Lunar X Prize project. Luckily, we've got the support of the Israeli aerospace industry.
Now we are in the IAI facilities. This is the place where our spacecraft is going to be integrated in a few months.
Oh, we'll take it to the moon.
We were one of the last teams to register at the race. And one of the things that we came up was to have just one machine to hover above the surface of the moon. Everything becomes a bit more simpler. And that was the first huge step that we made on our way to the moon.
And touchdown.
It is rocket science.
Scientists and engineers, these are the people that moved the world forward. מה שאני רוצה זה שכשאתם תהיו גדולים, אולי חלק מכם יחשבו שמדע זה מגניב ולהיות מהנדסים זה מגניב, אבל מה שמאוד הייתי רוצה זה שתגדלו ותחשבו איך אתם עוזרים לשפר את העולם, איך אתם עוזרים לבנות בעצם משהו יותר מגניב בעולם הזה. We have to push forward with those inspiration stories if we want more engineers and scientists. We live in a very harsh environment with very unknown factors surrounding us. If we can manage to solve the problems on this part of the world will be a much better place.
יש עכשיו אזעקה, בסדר? לא, בלי זה, בלי לדחוף, בלי זה, לצאת כאילו בצורה מסודרת מתוך הכיתה. מסודרת, לא לרוץ! לא לרוץ!
I've always loved space. When I was younger, I had lots of time in the desert. I like the connection. The vastness of space on one hand and the vastness of the desert on the other hand. When you see the Earth from space, you can't see any borders. You just see one planet filled with people. When people realize most of their time is being spent on useless things, as fighting, that's when things will change. My grandfather taught me to be always optimistic. For me, sending a spacecraft to the moon represents that everything is possible, that the human spirit will win. My son is 1 year old now. I really hope that he will go up to a better place. And I hope that as humanity will progress, people will love each other more than they do now. I can only hope that the children of this region will build a better future and put the past behind them.
I want to take you to Israel in pictures and film. I want you to see how God's sovereign hand can be seen before our eyes right here in this land. That's why PJTN is offering a special anniversary package that includes a captivating new book and award-winning DVD. Israel Rising is a unique visual story of Israel's miraculous journey from unforgiving desert to thriving nation. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Ezekiel foretold a future time in which the arid land of Israel would come alive for its people. Now this breathtaking book documents the fulfillment of this vision, as rarely seen photographs from the 1880s to the 1940s are juxtaposed with recent photos of the same locations. This book will inspire and captivate you as it illuminates Israel's foretold awakening in a new and unforgettable way. In addition, you'll receive the award-winning documentary, Israel Indivisible: The Case for the Ancient Homeland. This inspiring film examines the many political twists and turns that make Israel the world's most controversial nation. From Abraham and the Promise to the issues facing the Jewish state today, the film examines the historical, archaeological, legal, and biblical foundations for the modern state of Israel. This is a limited time offer for these two remarkable resources for just a one-time gift of $70 today. Your generous donation will help ensure that PJTN stays on the front lines and in the headlines of all the important issues facing Israel and our Jewish brethren. So please go to pjtn.org today. From studying history, it's very clear that what starts with the Jews never ends only with the Jews. We must strongly stand against any anti-Semitic trends, for if not stopped, they'll cause harm to all of us, and we'll witness the downfall of our Judeo-Christian Western culture. Today, many people say there's no longer a need for a Jewish state, that Jews around the world no longer need a place of refuge. But anyone who has heard recent statistics about the worldwide rise in anti-Semitism would never make such a claim. The reality is that neo-Nazi groups and Nazi sympathizers are increasing around the world. Surveys show that over 1 billion people in the world harbor anti-Semitic attitudes. Close to 50% believe that Jews have too much power in the business world, and 2/3 of the world's population has never heard of the Holocaust or believe the historic accounts of it are inaccurate. Don't let yourself be manipulated by evil people with a wicked agenda. When the self-serving villains are in control, good people from all religions suffer. Muslims, Christians, and all people of conscience should stand proudly and show respect for a country that gives so much to the world in so many ways. Do your part, do your research, and do what you can to make a difference. Because what happens in Israel does affect us all. This is not just a Jewish or just an Israeli problem. This is a problem for all humanity, for each and every one of us who believe in freedom and human rights. Learn more about what you can do at pjtn.org. On February 22nd of 2019, the dream became a reality after 8 years of hard work. The SpaceIL craft was launched aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket and made history as it traveled toward its lunar destination. Next up, you'll see part of the National Geographic documentary on the project titled Rookie Moonshot: Budget Mission to the Moon.
April 11th, 2019.
We have passed the point of no return. We are in the landing process.
The first privately funded spacecraft attempts to land on the moon.
They've made people stand up and take note.
This is the story of how 3 space rookies dared to dream.
They're showing that even though space is very hard, it's not impossible.
Rallied a country behind them.
It's not just a spacecraft that carries the hopes and dreams of a nation.
Built a budget lunar lander.
$100 million, that's a chump change in the space world.
The motor is 5 bolt holes off.
NASA would never build the spacecraft using off-the-shelf stuff.
Hitched a ride.
You gotta remember, space launch is really expensive.
And proved the moon is open for business. Cape Canaveral, Florida. At the top of this SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket sits the future of space exploration. A tiny, privately made Israeli spacecraft called Beresheet, meaning in the beginning, is being fitted into the nose cone. One slip could destroy 8 years of work.
We're gonna come down 4 inches. Everyone keep an eye on the spacecraft.
She aims to join the United States, the USSR, and China in landing on the moon. But in space terms, she's doing it on the cheap. $100 million, less than 0.1% of NASA's Apollo program.
What's really important, it will demonstrate something we already know can be done, but to do it at the relatively low cost that they're doing it will be something that'll be monumental.
Bargain basement prices for getting to the moon. No one has ever approached anywhere close to that before.
These guys think you can get there on a shoestring. Israeli engineers Kfir Damari and Jonathan Weintraub.
It's absolutely spectacular.
With front row tickets to the launch, they are 2 of the 3 brains behind the daring moonshot.
This is where they actually launched the Apollo landers. So I bet like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, might go for a run around here.
We're a bit sad on the fact that we are actually going to say goodbye to Beresheet.
I actually did not realize it's 3 hours before launch right now. Wow.
The third engineer behind the spacecraft is Yariv Bash. He's watching the launch from Mission Control in Israel.
I just went to the launch room, everybody's at the Mission Control Center, everybody's quite excited. I like the commotion here, all the people who've worked on the project.
Public viewing areas are crammed, the audience gripped by moon fever.
So many people here, you can tell how proud are we a spacecraft will go to the moon.
The world is also watching this incredible rookie lunar mission.
This is the first private mission to the moon. It has never been done.
The springboard to this audacious moonshot is the 2007 launch of the Google Lunar X Prize. The contest challenges amateurs to build a spacecraft able to cope with a vigorous launch, the harsh vacuum of space, and a tricky moon landing. In late 2010, Yarif, Kfir, and Jonathan meet in a pub to take up the challenge. 8 years later, with a final price tag of $100 million, the spaceship is ready to launch. It's the moment of reckoning. Beresheet is balanced on top of 500 tons of rocket fuel. In traditional moonshots, money is no object, and you can take the direct route to the lunar surface.
During the Apollo program, you could just fire your engines and go straight there.
The Apollo landers, in the week following the launch, they're on the moon.
A direct route means your own rocket, a bigger spacecraft, and a hefty price tag. Beresheet's designers must think differently. Beresheet starts her journey in an elliptical orbit around Earth. She slows down as she reaches the top of the arc. Then Earth's gravity pulls her back down, and she speeds up, hitting 22,000 miles per hour when closest to Earth. For the past 6 weeks of her journey, Beresheet has orbited Earth, steadily getting closer to the moon. Now, their paths will cross. Beresheet must speed up to jump from Earth orbit into lunar orbit, braking quickly to stay with the gravitational pull of the moon. One wrong move, and she will fly off into space or crash into the lunar surface. It's a critical moment in mission control. Budget spacecraft Beresheet is preparing to jump from Earth's gravity and start orbiting the moon.
It's a really crucial maneuver. We are either going to be captured into the lunar orbit or we're lost in space.
Tensions are running high.
Only one shot, and that's it.
To be grabbed by the moon's gravity, Beresheet must brake by around 320 meters per second.
Engines are working well. Looking good up to now.
She transmits back the make or break data. Beresheet's done it.
As of today, it's around the moon. That's the first time. Incredible.
Within the hour, she transmits back the first photo of her destination.
So just the fact that we have a picture of the moon from the spacecraft, we are there.
Capcom, we're go for landing. Landing is the toughest maneuver of them all, as Apollo 11 discovered. As they descended, the astronauts saw a crater field strewn with huge boulders.
The astronauts ended up having to steer it manually to a safe landing.
The Eagle has landed.
On Beresheet, there are no astronauts. There is no manual steering. So if anything goes wrong, that's game over.
She is traveling at 1 mile per second. The plan is to dramatically reduce that speed by firing her thrusters against the direction of travel.
And as we slow down, we begin to fall. So the spacecraft has to change its attitude, so it also starts decelerating towards the ground.
Beresheet was conceived over 8 years ago on a scrap of paper in an Israeli pub. Now, it's up to Mission Control to deliver this spacecraft into the history books. But first, she has to land.
There's a million things that can go wrong. Every person in this control room has tested a million things. We're gonna get to the moon. The only question is in how many pieces.
We're about to start the landing process.
500 miles from the designated landing site, Beresheet begins her descent. The plan is for her to use her thrusters to slow down until she is half a mile above the moon, feet facing down. Then, she'll fire her engines hard to hit 0 miles per hour by 15 feet above the surface. Beresheet will then free fall gently to the moon.
The spacecraft will decide by itself if everything is okay. If things is okay, we're in a non-return point. We're in the landing process. There's nothing more we can do. And the whole process will take us about 21 minutes. And we're going to get into that in 15 seconds.
10 meters per second, V down, 7, 6, 5, 14 meters.
The team at SpaceIL have programmed Beresheet to land by herself with little more than a homemade flight simulator.
Touchdown.
However, it hasn't always gone to plan.
My first practice of the landing in the simulator, I did something wrong, and it did exactly the opposite of what it should have done. It just accelerated toward the ground, upside down, and crashed magnificently.
You need to improve from crashing to landing, of course.
And I keep this in order to remind me, it's up to me and Tomer.
Yoav, Tomer, and the team have done all they can to make landing a success. Now it's over to Beresheet.
So we are in the braking process. The braking process is working well. We are slowing down, and the spacecraft is doing exactly what it's supposed to do right now.
13 miles above the surface, and Beresheet is happy. She sends Mission Control a selfie. But optimism is short-lived.
We currently have a problem.
They've lost communications.
Measurement units. We lost telemetry for a few moments, and now we've got telemetry back again.
It's obvious Beresheet is malfunctioning.
We seem to have a problem with our main engine. We are resetting the spacecraft to try to enable the engine. We have the main engine back on.
No, but it's not. No.
Beresheet is now speeding up, not slowing down. And the lunar surface is getting closer.
איבדנו הרבה גובה. We had a failure in the spacecraft. We unfortunately have not managed to land successfully.
Beresheet crashes into the surface of the moon.
We definitely tried. And I think that the achievement of getting to where we got is really tremendous. I think we can be proud.
We did land, but at 500 kilometers per hour. That was roughly the speed of landing.
We did get there, not in one piece, but we did get there. It seems like there's some problem with the main thruster. It's too soon to know.
Early indications suggest a spacecraft component failed, forcing the engines to shut down. When they came back on, it was too late.
Tried to pull up, to slow down, but it was too late. Too late.
Beresheet can't transmit the crucial magnetometry data. The moon's formation remains a mystery. But she does send one farewell image.
Proud but disappointed and really, really sad.
Hopefully this is, the end of chapter 1 in a longer journey.
So Beresheet is the beginning. And if you persevere, if you dare to dream, you can get anywhere. And we got to the moon. That's a pretty far anywhere.
Sadly, the flight ended in failure with the crash of the lunar lander on the moon's surface. But quitting has never been in the spirit of Israelis, and this ambitious start and near success has propelled SpaceIL to plan a new attempt called Beresheet 2. Unfortunately, some donors have decided to divert funds to other causes, and without the bucks, there's no Buck Rogers. At PJTN, we pray someone will step up to help Israel reach the moon very soon. Well, that's our program for today, and I want you to know we appreciate your support. The time to take a stand is now. Be a leader in your community and in your church. One person can make a difference. Get involved with and support pro-Israel organizations such as PJTN. Call your senators, congressmen. Let your elected leaders hear from you. Visit our website to learn more. Sign up to receive action alerts and order our films to share with family and friends. Please encourage everyone you know to tune in and become informed. God bless you, and thank you for all you do on behalf of our Jewish brethren and all Israel. We'll see you next time on Focus on Israel.